This is one of my favorite soups to make. It is super easy. You pop it in the oven and then you get to enjoy the goodness that comes from it. So we can't use a lot of canned soups, so instead we make a lot of our soup. Here we have to core the tomatoes, otherwise these are going to end up as really chewy bits in your soup. You don't want those in there. We're using tomatoes on the vine, but you can also use hothouse tomatoes or you can use Roma tomatoes, whatever suits you, whatever's cheap, whatever's on sale. Cut up some onions that you see they're largely diced. Doesn't matter how big some of these are going to be. They're going to be roasted in the oven on a baking sheet, and then they're going to go into an immersion blender and you're going to make them even smaller. So it doesn't matter how big some of the stuff is. Sometimes bigger is a little bit better. It does work better in the oven and it won't burn in the oven that way. We then are going to put salt, pepper, and some neutral oil on it. You can use avocado oil or olive oil, whatever oil is safe for you. Mix up the onions, the garlic, and the tomatoes with those. Then you're going to line cooking sheets with parchment paper and put those tomatoes face down. So you want to have the skin side up to start with. That way they're not going to burn as much as they would if they were the other side around. And as you can see, we're just laying them out on the baking sheets. It takes quite a while. We had to do 2 different batches because we are doing a large batch. This soup freezes really, really, really well. So if you can, do a double batch up, get a couple of tomato packets from Costco, do it all up now, then you have it in the freezer, portioned out in a family size or individual sized packets, and you can pull those out and cook those for lunch or for dinner, and you don't have to worry about it. We're then going to pop them into the oven and we're going to cook them at 400 for about 20 minutes. Then we're going to pull them out and flip them over. As you can see here, we're just going to do our best with some of the onions. It's really tough to flip those around, so just make sure that they move around a bit, and the garlic as well. If you don't like the skins on your tomatoes, now is the time to remove it because they do come off fairly easily once they've been cooked like this. Then they're going to go back in the oven for another 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of your tomatoes. Pull them out, let them cool. Then we've heated up a little bit more neutral oil, some salt, pepper, and our herbs. So this is the dried herbs, not the fresh herbs. Fresh herbs are going to go in later. Then we're going to put in our broth. We use vegetable broth, but you can use chicken broth or you can use another kind of broth that is safe for you. We like the vegetable, keeps this vegan. Then the roasted goodness of those tomatoes and garlic and onions are going to go in. You can see there's lots of juice that came off those. Make sure you add those into the soup. That's going to give you a ton of flavor. You want that in your soup. It is where all the flavor goodness is. So pop that in your soup. Then you're going to stir it in really well. Let it come up to temperature for a couple of minutes. Just heat that bad boy up and then add in the fresh basil. You can use dried if you prefer. Depends on what you have on hand. We have basil plants that are in our kitchen that are growing year round. Then you want to remove it from the heat and use an immersion blender. Now, an immersion blender or a stick blender will get that really smooth and is great for when you have hot liquids. You do not want to put this hot liquid into a stand mixer. It will spray everywhere and it can burn you. It is really dangerous. So make sure to invest in something good, something like this immersion blender. Put the pot back onto the heat and bring it up to a simmer. Let it simmer. Once it has simmered, you can season it and taste it again. Make sure to taste it once it is up to temperature so that you know how salty it is if you need more salt. Then we add in coconut cream. You can also add in oat milk if you prefer, that is gluten-free, or rice milk. If you are going to add rice milk, make sure to add a little bit of arrowroot starch to it to make it sure that it's thickened. And this is what it turns out like. It is amazing. Don't forget to subscribe for more allergy-friendly recipes. And if you like our site, please do check often